That there were a bunch of dead little fish in the water, and I mean, like hundreds of thousands of dead little fish. It filled. So we're still in the inner harbor in Baltimore. You can see the city behind me there, and the inner harbor area here, and this whole area, all the rocks and the steps and everything that are kind of in the background over here, the shoreline areas were just covered with all these little fish. So we did a little investigating to find out what is going on here. I could show you some of the little fish over here, so you can see them. And this is a lot less. The city has these two or several boats that skim the surface of the water and pick up trash, and they came by and picked up a lot of these fish. So the past few nights it's been pretty cold, getting down into the low 60s or high 50s, which is quite a temperature change from what it's been. And so it cools the surface of the water, and that cold, dense air then sinks, and it causes naturally occurring sulfur bacteria to rise, which then reacts with sunlight, and it creates a hydrogen sulfide, which creates a really somewhat of a brighter green water at the surface, which is why they call it the Pistachio Tide. But it also creates a low oxygen condition for the fish, which is why there's so many dead fish. Now, it happened in 3 spots in the Chesapeake Bay. The inner harbor here in Baltimore is one of them, and then 2 other areas south of here in the Chesapeake. So I'm told that the water temperature dropped within a few hours by 5 degrees, which is a crazy drop in water temperature. But anyway, that's what caused these little guys to perish. And so it just shows you how fragile our oceans are, how careful we need to be to not add to the problems and situations by, tossing trash and junk into the oceans. All right, so today's task is the continuation of yesterday's task, which is waxing the entire boat. You want to make sure that you do this at least once a year. Some people would say that you need to wax every 6 months, but I will take the a little more of approach of being realistic, because this is such a big job and you need so much power to run these tools. I personally don't think for this I would go cordless. You're going to need a bunch of batteries. Before you get started, basics kind of, again, as an analogy, you wash the boat, get all the heavy dirt and junk off of it, certainly all the salt off the hulls. And then I use 2 different machines. Now, I would say if I were to start over again, because I started without anybody giving me any information. And the more I looked online, to be honest, the more I got confused about how's the right way to do this. So I have two different machines. I have this one that is more of a buffing wheel. And so this is what I'm applying the wax with, and move and buff and hold for about 10 to 15 seconds to really get it worked in there. And then once it gets to a hazy kind of a finish, then we switch, and you can do one of two things. You can use a different pad to remove the heavy wax and then switch to a buffing or polishing one. The one thing that I would say that I've learned along the way is that you could actually do it with one machine if you had the right one. And a good example of the right one is a machine called Flex, Flex. We'll post that somewhere so you can see it. The thing that is better about the Flex machine versus this, Flex really simulates or emulates the human hand putting the wax on. So this head, instead of just spinning, it actually rotates kind of like your hand would. So the machine actually goes up and down and rotates at the same time. I think this one is probably 200 to 300. The Flex is somewhere between the high 3s to 500. Keep in mind that if you were not to do this yourself, in today's world, this is 2024 when we're filming this, for our boat, we would spend somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 to have a crew come and wax, and it takes multiple days for them to go through the entire boat. The other thing too is that for each machine, well, whether you're using one machine to do it all, I have again two. So one of them is applying the wax. This one is more of a bonnet, so this just slips on. And so you would look for, and I can see if we can list this as well, but they're just called wax applicators, and there's different sizes. This is a 10-inch and this is a 7-inch. The product that I use, now I have used different ones when I first started, and they're all good. 3M makes a really good marine wax. This is the Meguiar's Marine and RV Cleaner Wax. So it's a one-step process. We'll list this as well. But this is really an amazing product. It works really, really well. So I do a 2-foot section, and I let that start to set. So I'll do another 2-foot section. And while that is setting, then I come back and remove this wax from the previous area. And then I do a high-speed buff on it and really buff it to a nice shine. Okay, enough chit-chat and time to get going. So I'll start putting wax on, and we'll go through the process real quick. But it's not rocket science. It's just a little bit of work, little elbow grease. And okay, here we go. If I were to start over today, I would not buy this machine because it's like holding a jackhammer. It moves around a lot, and by the end of the day, pretty much all my bones hurt. So not only did I not get a cappuccino, but I think I should get a massage at the end of the day. The wheel. What you want to be careful of is that when you do this, that you take the wheel that now has wax on it, and you actually dab it in a couple spots. Because if you turn this baby on while it's loaded with wax, you're just going to get splattered and covered with wax, or it's going to go flying everywhere. So I kind of do this. I hold the pad and I smear it around a tiny bit. And now we're ready to go. I'll turn it on. We're going to start buffing. I'll go through the general area, and then I'm going to hold it in one area for about 10 to 15 seconds and then keep moving until we've really worked this area over well. Hold it in one area, let it work it. You really want to kind of get all the oxidized stuff off. Give the wax the best opportunity to set itself up. And then we will let it get hazy, and then we'll take it off. All right, so that is the wax on stage. Given the temperature here, we're in the mid to high 70s, so this is setting up pretty quick. It's actually already kind of hazy. I'm going to use this one now because I'm going to start a new pad as well. So we'll use this to take some of the wax, well, the wax that's on there, to remove it, and then we're going to switch to a new clean pad. And this goes a lot faster. All right, so this goes pretty quick because we're actually just taking the wax off. And now we're going to go to a polishing pad. And then this I will sit in one area for 10 seconds and then keep moving. The idea being that you want to not only remove any residual little bit of wax that might still be on there, but you really want to buff this to a high glossy finish. And so this gives a really nice, obviously a really nice shine, gives it a good coating. When you live on the boat and you're being realistic of how much time goes into all the other things, this is still, our boat is 5 years old, almost going into its 5th year. And I would say it still looks brand new. So a couple of those suction cup handles, and just some regular small dock line, and that's it. So it allows me to keep moving from spot to spot and working my way down the boat. The other thing too is that I do the rub rail at the same time, and I'm already here, so I may as well do it. So.
Today our job today is to wax. We're waxing the lower part of the ceiling, not this part. This part doesn't get waxed. So the first step you'll want to do is you'll want to apply some cleaner, some wax. But a little bit, about this much. It lasts for a while. And then when you get there, you want to rub it in circles like this. You want to get all the way up to the top. You can make sure you get all the dirt off. And then after you're done waxing one area, you'll take a rag like this one, to wipe the wax off. And then the last rag to polish.
Yeah, so it gets that nice shine at the end. Because before it's a little bit dull and your fingers, if you touch it with your fingers, it'll kind of drag and it'll feel like, but without it, it feels a lot smoother when you wax it.
And you want to sit here for a little bit. You don't want to just quickly wipe through. And then you just do that for same with everything. You want to do big areas, like with a single piece of wax, you could start from here. And you could probably get somewhere around right here. Also want to make sure to wipe wax off that could have dripped. Right. Then you just keep doing this, and I'll do this last area. So yeah, perfect glass? Yes it is. Finisher.
So how many rags do you have then total?
So, well, since Oliver and I are waxing together, there's 4 because we each have waxing. But if it was just one person, you would have one rag to wax with, one rag to wipe the wax off, which actually is this one, and then this rag you polish it with. So